It is Friday, the 28th. Well, it's a little past midnight, whatever, it's fine. But, yeah, so just bartending, and I love the area that I'm bartending in because most of the people that I'm around are not like super religious. They're not super political. They're just average fucking Joes trying really hard to just figure out what the hell is going wrong with them. There's a lot of people who are talking about the UFO hearings and that are starting to talk about this shit that needs talked about. And I just listen, like literally, I just listen, and sometimes I'll chime in, sometimes not. It's usually not, just listen. And these kids came in, and a lot of the people I know are young. They're like 21 to 25 year olds, a lot of the people that come into the bar that I'm working at. And like the later crowds, a little younger, obviously. But these 5 people came in for some dude's birthday, and they're sitting at the bar, and this one guy starts talking about ancient history shit, and he goes, and he's trying to talk about ancient history shit because they were, drinking, and nobody was listening to him, and he yelled out, and he was like, does anybody in this place like history? And I'm pouring a draft, and I'm like, I like history. And this guy starts talking about the ancient Sumerian tablets. And I'm like, dude, you can talk to me about that shit all day long if you want. And we started talking about some bullshit, right? Somebody asked me if I went and seen that Oppenheimer movie, and I'm like, dude, I refuse to go to the movies and support Hollywood fucking ever again. And I haven't gone to the movies, and I don't watch Netflix shows or anything like that. Like, I fucking am done with that shit. And this cute girl goes, what the hell do you do? I'm like, I watch YouTube channels like the Leak Project and the Y-Files and all kinds of different ancient history, energy topics, stuff like that. And I said the main thing that I've really kind of been paying attention to is this CIA declassified document. And it's pretty much the main secret of the universe in a nutshell that these assholes have declassified. They're like, what is it? I'm like, we live in a hologram. Just smack people in the mouth with it. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of hard to like explain without you going and first warming your mind up to the idea of it all. But yeah, it looks like all those fucking weirdos that have been talking about maybe we're living in a simulation, it kind of looks like that's pretty fucking true. And a lot of people have been talking about this for a long time. And this guy goes, who? And I said, spiritual content creators have been talking about this shit. But people don't like the word spirituality. As soon as you say spirituality, people get weird. But if you like ancient history, you're spiritual. And it went on and on and on from there. And I ended up talking to this one guy who's a regular. He was like sitting there really quiet, and I was telling him about Free Guy. And he's like, listen, like, I watched the movie Free Guy, and this guy's a big Coheed fan. He goes, I watched the movie Free Guy, and it actually made me so sick to my stomach. And then I started picturing The Matrix, and then I started picturing all of these other movies that I've seen that looked like that. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what they fucking did. That's why they keep remaking the same movies. It's the same fucking bullshit over and over again if you really look at it. I said, when you start noticing these repeating decimals everywhere, it starts to make sense. And he's like, I almost took myself to the fucking nut ward. And I'm like, I've been there. I don't want you to go there. I said, if you check into what your oversoul is, if you check into that, and if you have any questions, just fucking talk to me about it anytime, and I'll give you my opinion. And he's like, I'm like, he was totally fucking brain jammed. And there was probably about 15 people who were just kind of like brain jammed, because I might look like a fucking nut on here because I kind of didn't have a choice. I had to wake up and freak the fuck out and make a bunch of announcements and stuff like that. And I don't recommend anybody waking up and freaking out the way I've been freaking out, trying to figure out what in the hell is going on. But, you know, I'm very normal. I am literally just a fucking cool chick who understood the assignment that, yeah, my life had to suck. Not so bad compared to a lot of other people's, but I had to kind of walk through my own personal hell and go through a lot of shit to wake up and realize that, fuck, I'm just, like, this whole world's a joke, and I feel like the butt of it. Like, I feel like this sucks. And I feel like a lot of other people have to feel that way, and it's a fucking shame. But, yeah, when I talk to people one-on-one, face-to-face, or at all, it is constant people. Oh, look, the purple lights. It is constant people asking me, what the hell is different about me? Why does my energy feel so profound? I mean, people can fucking tell. People always could tell that there was something very different about me. And I'm just trying to explain myself and why I've kind of always been such a bold, big personality type shit. And talking to him, I'm like, have you guys ever heard of those Indigo kids? And the one guy who almost 202'd himself, he's like, I definitely saw some stuff about that before. And I wanted to look, and I just kind of like fell off, and I don't really remember why I didn't look. I was like, yeah, well, sometimes energies go through people's minds and kind of steer them off of the right paths, and kind of don't want you looking at shit like that. I'm like, I'm an indigo, and I think that you should look at stuff like that, because the way you like Coheed and just what I know of you as a person, I think that you're very special. And I think that you like Coheed and Cambria because you can tell that those guys are very special. And birds of a feather flock together, buddy. And, you know, that's just what I think. Then people brought up that chick on the plane. They were like, what do you think happened with that? And I'm like, what I think happened is that was either some kind of an elaborate little setup for clout, or it wasn't. Or she saw something that was very, very, very scary, and some other guy chimes in and goes, oh, my crazy cousin is over there saying that she probably saw a reptilian. I said, she might have. How do you know she didn't? And everybody's like, are you fucking serious? And I'm like, hey, I mean, it kind of looks like they put the truth in everybody's faces, and they laugh, and, you know, they don't like people laughing and using comedy or anything. They don't like laughter. They don't want anybody to be happy, but it seems like the only thing that they like us to be happy about and the only thing that they like us to laugh at is conspiracy theories. And I don't think that shit's a conspiracy now that I've researched into ancient Sumer and all of these things. And this guy was like, the guy that's like, oh, I'm going to talk about Sumerian tablets in ancient Sumer. He goes, do you think that Yahweh is Enlil? And I went, yep. Oh my God. Everybody was like, holy shit. The two people that knew what we were talking about were like, holy shit. And everybody else is like, who's Yahweh? So funny. So funny. Literally, probably about 10 to 15 people are going to go home. And probably within the next not so long, look into these things, because it was very fun and intense conversation. And I'm like, hey man, I go to therapy, I go see a mental health specialist, like, I'm doing the most. Like I said, this is what my YouTube channel is about, that I've told people, you know, I have a YouTube channel, but I don't tell them what I talk about, and I don't tell them what it is or anything. But I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of woke up and started really flipping the fuck out and calling people pussies and shit, because I don't want our kids to have to talk about this shit. I'm sitting there, I'm like, can you guys imagine if all these crazy conspiracy things are true and our kids are gonna have to talk about this shit and our kids are gonna have to keep suffering for this? Like, can you imagine if it could just be so easy that we could just tell our kids, hey, we're in a really important video game reality, and lighten up, be easy on yourself, you're a god. Wouldn't that be great? So great. Started talking about fractalized God consciousness. Like, it was actually pretty fucking cool. It was actually a really, really, really good night. And just wanted to pop on here and say that, because I think it's fucking great. People who have open minds, or people who have been struggling with shit like this, or mental disorders, and wondering why they feel like nothing here is real, kind of looks like it's just not. And I'm fucking telling everybody. Toodles!